Nathan Calloway always woke before the sun. On the farm, dawn wasn't a suggestion, it was a requirement. But that morning, something was wrong. As he poured his coffee and glanced out the kitchen window, his hand froze mid-air. He squinted, leaned closer. The horizon, usually lined with golden stalks of ripening corn, shimmered with an eerie violet hue. He stepped outside in his boots, coffee forgotten. The field, his field, had turned purple. Not just a subtle tint. Every stalk glowed faintly, each leaf painted with an impossible, luminous shade, like amethyst lit from within. The wind didn't rustle through the leaves. It whispered, a low and rhythmic sound that made the hairs on his arms rise. Nathan slowly approached the edge of the field. His dog Baxter followed at first, tail wagging. But 10 feet from the corn, the shepherd froze, growled low, then whimpered and backed away. That had never happened before. Nathan knelt down, reaching toward a stalk, but hesitated. He couldn't feel heat or cold coming off it. Just that quiet hum pulsing as if the earth beneath was alive. He picked a single leaf. It felt normal, textured like any corn leaf, but the color stayed even after he carried it into the sunlight. By the time the sun cleared the horizon, the field had become a sea of alien violet. And the birds, where were the birds? Every morning dozens would swoop down, picking off insects and chirping in a noisy symphony. Today, silence. He grabbed his phone and called Tommy Griggs, his neighbor and closest friend. "Tommy," he said, breath catching, "you need to come over, now." "Why? What's going on?" "You just need to see this for yourself." 20 minutes later, Tommy pulled up in his beat-up Ford truck. He climbed out, saw the field, and stopped cold. "Jesus," he muttered. "Did you spray something? You think I sprayed purple glow-in-the-dark paint on 200 acres overnight?" Tommy didn't answer. He just stepped to the edge and looked, mouth slack. "Could be chemical runoff," he said eventually, though without conviction. "From that plant east of town?" Nathan shook his head. "They don't use anything like this. Besides, the crops are still standing." "No burn, no wilt." Tommy touched a stalk and sniffed his fingers. "No smell. You call anyone?" "Not yet. Figured I'd start with someone who wouldn't think I've lost my mind." "Too late for that," Tommy mumbled, still staring. Nathan glanced back at the farmhouse. Claire would be up soon, getting Lena ready for school. He didn't want them to see this, not until he had some sort of explanation. But there was none, just the purple. Then the air shifted. Nathan turned his head slowly. The humming grew deeper, no louder, just heavier. He felt it in his chest, a slow, rhythmic thud. Tommy looked pale. "You feel that?" Tommy asked. "Yeah." They backed away in unison. The hum quieted again, retreating like a breath. Nathan wiped sweat from his brow. The early morning air was cool, but he was drenched. Something was wrong, deeply wrong, not with the plants, with the land. "I need an expert," Nathan said. Tommy nodded. "Evelyn Rocha. She worked with the Ag Center, right?" "She still does, and she owes me a favor." Nathan walked back toward the house with hurried steps, already dialing her number. The line rang twice, then went to voicemail. He tried again. Still nothing. The cornfield whispered behind him. By midday, the purple hadn't faded. If anything, it seemed brighter under the sun, casting odd reflections on Nathan's barn and making the wheat fields beyond look pale and sickly by comparison. He paced along the front porch, checking his phone for the 5th time in an hour. Still no reply from Dr. Evelyn Rocha. He had met Evelyn years ago when she was doing a soil pH study across southeastern Kansas. She was sharp, honest, and didn't spook easy. That's exactly what he needed now. Someone with knowledge, not speculation. As if on cue, his phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Nathan Calloway?" a clipped voice asked. "Yes. This is Dr. Rocha. I got your messages." "What's going on?" He exhaled, tension flooding out in one breath. "Evelyn, I need you to come out to the farm. Something's happened to my cornfield. It's different." "Different how?" "You won't believe me over the phone. I'll explain when you get here." A pause. I'll be there in 20 minutes. True to her word, a white SUV pulled into the driveway just under half an hour later. Evelyn stepped out wearing jeans, a flannel and mirrored sunglasses. She was in her early 40s, with sharp cheekbones and eyes that rarely blinked more than necessary. Nathan didn't waste time with pleasantries. He led her to the edge of the field. She stopped short. What the hell? Yeah. She stepped closer, squinting. Then she knelt, brushed her fingers along the base of a stalk, and pulled out a small scanner from her satchel. It beeped once. Then the screen went black. She frowned, smacked the device gently, tried again. Nothing. I just charged this morning. Nathan waited as she pulled out a soil test kit and collected a sample. The color of the soil was normal, but the texture. It clung to the spoon like clay, though it hadn't rained in over a week. Doesn't make sense, she muttered. Nathan nodded toward the field. Any idea what this is? No, she said flatly. This isn't any known mutation. Corn doesn't change pigmentation overnight, especially not like this. And the structure's intact. No wilting, no disease marks. She plucked a leaf and brought it close to her eyes, turning it slowly in the light. This isn't dye. It's integrated into the plant tissue. Meaning? Meaning this is natural. Somehow. She stood suddenly and looked around. Her movements changed, sharper, more alert. Has anyone else seen this? My neighbor, that's it. Good. Keep it that way. Nathan's brow furrowed. What are you not telling me? Evelyn hesitated. She stared back at the field, then turned to him. Listen, Nathan. I'm going to take some samples back with me. Run some tests. I'll need time. Time for what? Time to figure out what you're sitting on. Evelyn, just trust me. She touched his arm briefly, a flicker of something close to fear in her eyes. Don't go near it. Don't let your family near it. And for God's sake, don't eat any of it. I wasn't planning on it. She nodded, then walked briskly to her SUV. As she opened the door, Nathan called after her. What should I tell my daughter when she sees it? Evelyn didn't look back. She simply said, Tell her we're working on it. Then she was gone. Hours later, as the sky turned orange with sunset, Nathan's phone buzzed. A text from Evelyn. Get off that land. Immediately. No explanation. No follow-up. Nathan read it 3 times, heart pounding. Then he looked out over the field, now glowing faintly in the fading light. And he realized something else had changed. The hum was gone, and in its place, absolute silence. The next morning, Nathan was jolted awake by the distant crunch of tires on gravel. He sat up, heart racing, and looked out the window. 3 black SUVs rolled down his driveway, moving slow and deliberate like sharks circling prey. Claire stirred beside him. Who is that? I don't know, Nathan muttered, already pulling on jeans. He was halfway down the stairs when the first knock echoed through the house, firm, mechanical, without pause. He opened the door to find a man in a dark suit, flanked by 2 others. No badges, no introductions. Nathan Calloway. Yes. We need to speak with you. May we come in? Nathan didn't move. Who are you? We represent a federal agency investigating anomalous agricultural events. This pertains to your property. He stepped outside, shutting the door behind him. My property, you mean the purple field? The man didn't flinch. Yes. We're here to secure the area and begin preliminary analysis. I already have someone looking into it. Your contact, Dr. Rocha, has submitted an incident flag through official channels. That's why we're here. Nathan frowned. She didn't mention that. She didn't need to. You're not authorized to manage this situation on your own. He folded his arms. With all due respect, this is my land. You can't just walk in and take over. The man's tone didn't change. Mr. Calloway, the phenomenon on your field presents a potential biohazard. There are protocols for these things. You'll remain on site, but from this point forward, the area is under federal quarantine. Quarantine? 2 agents walked past him toward the field carrying scanning equipment. Nathan turned to block their path, but the lead agent raised a hand calmly. Please don't interfere. We're not here to harm your property. We're here to prevent harm to others. Nathan clenched his jaw. I want documentation, a A warrant, papers, something. The man gave a thin smile. In due time. Tommy arrived minutes later, having seen the convoy from his porch. He approached Nathan quietly as the agents began setting up orange stakes around the field. They brought drones, Tommy whispered. Sure enough, small quadcopters buzzed into the air, mapping the perimeter. One hovered just above the center of the field, its camera spinning in slow, deliberate arcs. Nathan's fists tightened. They're not telling us everything. Tommy nodded. This isn't normal government response, not for a weird crop. Nathan watched one agent drive a metal rod into the ground. The soil hissed slightly where it entered. Another agent held up a hand sensor that flickered violently, then shut off. The lead agent walked over, removing a thin earpiece. We're detecting electromagnetic interference, could be residual or active. Until we understand it, you'll need to restrict all electronic use near the site. My daughter has online classes. My wife runs our records from that house. We suggest alternate accommodations until containment is complete. Nathan took a step forward, voice low. We're not leaving. The agent's gaze didn't break. That would be unwise. And if I refuse? He paused, then leaned slightly closer. His voice dropped a level. Mr. Calloway, you don't understand what's growing out there. It's not just corn, it's not just pigment, and if it spreads... He stopped himself, straightened. Cooperation is the best path forward. Nathan stared back, his pulse hammering. I want answers. You'll get them. Eventually. The agent turned and walked away, joining his team near the scanning equipment. Nathan remained still, wind catching the edge of his shirt, the smell of ozone sharp in the air. The field pulsed gently in the background, its violet color now almost radiant. Claire stepped outside, arms crossed. Who are they? Nathan didn't look at her. I don't know. The agents stayed until dusk, marking the field with reflective stakes and placing sensor poles every 100 feet. They didn't speak much, and when they did, it was in clipped phrases, often through earpieces. Nathan watched from the porch, arms crossed, as the final drone buzzed off into the darkening sky. That night, dinner was quiet. Claire barely touched her food. Lena, their daughter, picked at her plate and kept glancing toward the window. The field was no longer visible in the dark, but its presence lingered like a shadow over the house. What do they want, really? Claire asked. Nathan didn't answer. He didn't have one. After everyone went to bed, he stayed downstairs. The house creaked with old wood and wind. Every sound felt amplified. Around midnight, as he sat in silence, he heard something new, something unmistakably human. A whisper, faint, drawn out, carried on the wind. He stood quickly, heart jumping. At first he thought it was Claire or Lena, but it was coming from outside. He stepped onto the porch and listened. Again, the whisper. Nathan! It wasn't loud. In fact, that made it worse. It sounded like it was coming from inside the corn, not a voice he recognized. It had a texture, soft and wet, like breath on glass. He called out, "Who's there?" No response, only the rustle of the violet stalks, swaying in a wind that didn't touch the trees. He grabbed a flashlight and pointed it toward the field. The beam cut into the corn but reflected oddly, bending and diffusing as if the leaves themselves absorbed it. He didn't step forward. He couldn't. Baxter growled from behind him. The dog stood at the doorframe, hackles up, eyes fixed on the field. A second whisper came. This time, not his name. Just unintelligible syllables, slow and rhythmic. Nathan slammed the door and locked it. Upstairs, Claire stirred in her sleep. She mumbled something. Then again. Nathan, they're coming. He froze at the base of the stairs. Claire? She didn't respond, just turned over, pulling the blanket closer. The next morning she didn't remember anything about the dream, but Lena did. At breakfast she said, I saw lights last night, outside my window. Claire looked up, alarmed. Lights from where? Lena shrugged. They blinked like fireflies, but bigger, different colors. Blue, then red, then green. They floated up and down like they were looking for something. Nathan put down his coffee. Did you hear anything? Lena hesitated. Voices. What did they say? I don't know. They weren't words, just sounds, like songs underwater. Claire shot Nathan a look, worried, sharp. That's enough. No more talk about the field. But, Mom, I said enough. Nathan said nothing, but his mind was already racing. He remembered Evelyn's warning. Don't go near it. Don't let your family near it. He pulled Claire aside after breakfast. We need to take Lena into town, he said. Just for a few days. Stay with your sister. Claire shook her head. I'm not running from corn, Nathan. It's not just corn, and it's not safe. We don't even know what it is. Exactly. She looked toward the window, where the edge of the purple glow was barely visible. I'm not leaving this house, she said softly. That night, Lena came to their room crying. There was something in the hallway, she whispered. It was standing at my door. Nathan jumped up, rushed into the hallway, but found nothing. The light bulb outside Lena's room flickered, then went out. He replaced it the next morning, but that night it flickered again. And this time, Nathan heard something new, deeper than whispers. Laughter, low, hollow, and coming from the corn. The following afternoon, Nathan sat alone on the porch staring out at the glowing horizon. The agents hadn't returned, but the stakes remained, thin orange markers slicing through the grass like warnings. Claire had taken Lena into town for groceries, though she barely spoke before leaving. There was a wall forming between them, built by fear neither wanted to name. As Nathan lit a cigarette, an old pickup truck rumbled up the drive. He recognized the vehicle before the man stepped out. Frank Taltree, the last living member of the local Shawnee community and an old friend of Nathan's late father. Frank rarely left his land, let alone visited anyone. Nathan stood to greet him. Didn't expect you, Frank. The old man didn't smile. His face was carved by time. Deep lines, weathered skin, long grey braids tucked under a worn hat. He walked slowly, but his eyes were sharp. I saw the field, Frank said, from the ridge above my place. It's changed. Nathan nodded. You've seen something like this before? Frank didn't answer right away. He reached into his coat, pulled out a small cloth-wrapped bundle, and sat down on the porch steps. From the bundle he revealed a piece of leather, marked with a series of old symbols. This land wasn't always farmland, Frank began. Long before your people settled here, it was sacred ground, not for ceremony, for warning. We called it the sleep soil. Nathan leaned forward. What does that mean? There were stories passed down. Stories of when the sky broke open long before men walked tall. Things fell from above, seeds not meant for earth. They burrowed, waiting, and where they landed, the soil changed, grew restless. Nathan frowned. Restless how? No matter what was planted, it twisted. Crops that bloomed in moonlight, trees that sang without wind. Creatures with glassy eyes and no voice. My ancestors tried to burn the land, bury it, but the roots always came back. So they left it empty, left it sleeping. Nathan sat in silence, absorbing each word. Frank tapped the leather map. This mark here, this was your land, part of the old boundary. The stories say it was the deepest root, but after the trail ended, people forgot. They built over it. Plowed it, fed it. You think we woke something up? Frank looked out toward the field, where the faint shimmer was already returning despite the sun. I don't think. I know. Nathan's mouth went dry. What happens next? Depends. If it's only watching, you might have time. If it's hungry, you won't. Nathan exhaled, hands gripping his knees. The government's been here. Agents, drones, sensors. They didn't say much, but they acted like they'd seen it before. Frank didn't blink. They have. That landed heavy. Nathan glanced back at the house. My wife won't leave. She doesn't want to believe this is real. And my daughter, she's seeing things, hearing things. She's sensitive. Kids feel the land more deeply. You have to protect her. How? Frank reached into the cloth bundle again and handed Nathan a small smooth stone with a spiral carved into it. "Put this at her window. Don't let her touch the field again. And if you hear the corn whisper your name, don't answer." Nathan stared at the stone. Frank stood, slow but firm. "One more thing. The hum. When it stops, it means it's listening." He returned to his truck and drove off without another word. As the sun dipped behind the barn, the shadows of the corn stretched unnaturally long across the yard. And Nathan couldn't help but wonder, how long had the land been listening? By the next morning, the agents were back, but this time they didn't just scan and observe. They erected fencing. Metallic posts with mesh wire, topped with blinking red lights, encircled the entire field. Armed personnel stood at corners. A sign was posted: "Restricted area, federal property, no trespassing." Nathan stood on his porch, fists clenched. The farm was still his, technically, but the field had been claimed. Claire watched them from the living room, arms folded. "What are they expecting to happen?" "I don't know," Nathan said, "but they're not acting like this is just corn." Inside the house, signals died. Cell phones wouldn't connect. Internet vanished. Even the radio returned only static. Nathan tried using the truck's shortwave. Nothing. It was as if a dome had settled over them, and no signal passed through. Lena noticed it too. "Dad, my laptop won't load anything. I can't even open my school files." Claire checked the landline. Dead. That night, the sky above the cornfield shimmered faintly. It wasn't a spotlight or flare. It was something else, like heat rising in reverse. The air folded inward. Nathan watched from the attic window. There were no birds, no insects, no wind. Just a deep, heavy quiet pressing against the walls of the house. Around 2 a.m. he was awoken by a soft tapping, not on the door, on the window. He crept down the hallway and found Lena standing in front of her room, pale, wide-eyed, pointing. "Something's outside," she whispered. He moved to her window slowly, heart pounding. There were no footprints in the dirt below, no movement. Just the edge of the cornfield, glowing. The next day, 2 agents approached the house. They wore the same dark uniforms, but their demeanor had shifted, stiffer, less patient. "We're implementing full containment," one said. "No one enters or exits the property without clearance." Nathan stood firm. "You can't trap us in our own home." "For your safety," the agent replied. Claire stepped forward. "You said that 3 days ago. Now we don't have phones, power, water pressure's dropping. Ma'am, we're aware of the difficulties. This is temporary." Nathan narrowed his eyes. "Then tell me what you're dealing with. Give me something." The agent didn't answer. He simply handed Nathan a sealed packet marked "Confidential, eyes only," then turned and left. Nathan opened it after they were gone. Inside were 2 satellite photos, one from 4 days ago, one current. The field had expanded by nearly 30 feet. The purple border was creeping. Also inside, a printed note: "Do not make contact with the crop. Do not burn, dig, or cut. Do not enter after dark. If auditory phenomena occur, do not respond." Claire read over his shoulder. "So they don't know what it is either. Or they do and they're not saying." That evening, Lena came down the stairs trembling. Her eyes were red. She clutched the spiral stone Frank had given Nathan. "It was whispering again," she said. "But this time it was saying my name." Claire hugged her tightly, and for a moment no one spoke. Later that night, Nathan returned to the porch alone. He looked out at the barrier, the guards, the pulsing purple glow. Then he noticed something new. The field was no longer whispering. It was breathing, slow, deliberate, rhythmic, like the exhale of something vast and buried. And with each breath, the lights in the house flickered once and twice, then went out. 2 days passed under the government's silence. The field expanded another 5 feet. The house, once safe behind fences, now sat eerily close to the purple edge. Nathan felt the land breathing more clearly at night, as if the heartbeat of the field had synced with his own. On the 3rd evening, Tommy showed up again, this time on foot, sweat on his brow, face pale. "They've blocked the county roads, military checkpoint near the mill. I had to hike the old deer trail just to get here." Nathan let him in quickly. Why, what did you hear? Tommy leaned in, voice low. There's a camp 10 miles west. Scientists, hazmat suits, armed guards. My cousin's with county services. He said there's talk of something bioreactive spreading through root systems. Nathan's stomach turned. They're not here to contain it. They're here to observe it. Tommy nodded. And they're scared, Nate. I saw one of their reports. Said the field is emitting low-frequency signals, rhythmic, organic, like sonar, like it's searching. Nathan didn't hesitate. We have to find the source. Claire protested immediately. You're not going in there. You saw what happened to Lena. What's happening to all of us? I need to know what's in the center, Nathan said. We can't defend against something we don't understand. Tommy stepped in. I'll go with him. Claire looked between them, torn between fear and fury. She didn't say goodbye. They waited until just after midnight. The guards rotated every 4 hours, and for a 15-minute window the northwest corner near the old irrigation trench was unmonitored. They slipped through the brush, past the outer fence, and crouched beside the trembling stalks. The corn loomed tall, twice its normal height. The purple glow was softer here, less vibrant, but the air was thick, almost humid, and the hum had returned. Not a whisper, not a voice, a vibration deep and steady. They stepped inside. The stalks parted easier than expected, brushing their arms like silk. The deeper they moved, the more distorted the world became. Sounds fell flat. Their own footsteps seemed delayed, like echoes from a dream. Tommy checked his compass. It's spinning, he whispered. Keep going. They moved carefully, one step at a time, toward where Nathan believed the center lay, an area untouched for generations, a dip in the land near the old oak stump. But when they arrived, the stump was gone. In its place was a pit. It pulsed, wide and shallow, covered by an intricate root system that glowed from within. Thick tendrils stretched across the soil, interwoven like veins. The air smelled sweet, almost metallic. Above them the stalks leaned inward as if bowing to something buried below. Nathan knelt. This is it. Tommy stared, pale. It's alive. The root structure moved slightly, as if breathing. Something below stirred, and the hum increased, vibrating through their teeth. We need to leave, Tommy said. Now. But Nathan didn't move. If we don't stop it now, it's going to keep spreading. Tommy grabbed his arm. We can't stop this with shovels and torches. This thing isn't growing. It's awakening. Just then, the root structure shivered. A faint click echoed upward from the pit, like a lock turning from deep within. Nathan looked down, eyes wide. Something was staring back. No shape, no form. Just presence. A pressure behind his eyes. A wordless message, older than language. He stood up abruptly. We're going. Now. They retraced their steps, faster this time, the stalks pressing in. As they reached the edge, Nathan glanced back and saw the root system begin to rise just slightly, as if responding to their presence. He didn't speak until they were safely outside the fence. Tommy caught his breath. What did you see? Nathan shook his head. I think it saw us first. Nathan barely slept after the trip into the heart of the field. Even behind locked doors and drawn curtains, he felt exposed. Something had noticed him. And now, it was waiting. By late afternoon, a knock came, sharp, quick. Nathan opened the door to find Evelyn Rocha standing there, hood up, mud on her boots, breathing hard. You weren't followed? He asked. I took the creek path from the south ridge. No one saw me. Claire entered from the kitchen, startled. I thought you left town. I did, Evelyn said. Then I came back, because whatever's under your field, it's not finished yet. She pulled a flash drive from her coat and handed it to Nathan. What is this? Everything I could get from old USDA records, satellite scans, and off-the-books reports, places where the same symptoms appeared, color mutations, electromagnetic interference, strange weather, always in remote areas, always buried after. Nathan plugged it into his laptop, already nervous. Maps flashed across the screen. Russia, 1983, Brazil, 1997, Northern Alaska, 2006. Each with the same violet bloom signature, each followed by sudden silence and full evacuation. Why aren't these public? Because every incident was absorbed into something called Project Solroute. It was meant to monitor anomalous agricultural data. But what they were really tracking was something extraterrestrial. Claire's voice trembled. You're saying this came from space? Evelyn nodded. We believe these spores came down centuries ago, maybe millennia, not meteorites, organisms, designed to terraform selectively. Tommy leaned against the wall, stunned. Terraform for what? We don't know. Maybe nothing we'd call life. Nathan sat back. So the field is part of something larger. It's a process, Evelyn said. Stage 1 is pigmentation. Stage 2 is root networking. Stage 3. Has anyone survived Stage 3? She looked away. Tommy cursed under his breath. Claire gripped the counter. Nathan leaned forward. Why now? Why here? Could be activation sequence, could be climate triggers, could be sheer bad luck. But the fact that it's awake means something is happening, and soon. Nathan showed her the pit, the root system, the sensation of being seen. Evelyn went pale. You made direct contact. I think it made contact with me. She pulled out a small device, a handheld scanner modified with layers of copper coils and shielding. If the root's that active, it's already communicating. Communicating with what? Anything within range, earthbound or not. Claire's voice cracked. And the government? What are they doing? Monitoring. Preparing. If it spreads beyond this zone, they'll wipe it. You mean destroy it? Evelyn nodded grimly. Along with everything within radius. Silence filled the room. Nathan stood. Then we stop it before they do. Evelyn raised a brow. You still think this is something you can fight? I have to. Evelyn opened her bag and removed a sealed container. Inside was a thick white paste. This is phospholytic acid bonded with thermal spores. It'll weaken the outer root membrane if applied directly. Tommy leaned closer. So we can kill it? No, but you might slow it down. Nathan took the container, heart pounding. Claire stepped forward. And if we don't? Evelyn hesitated. Then the next time the root pulses, it won't stop. Thunder rumbled outside, though no clouds had gathered. The wind picked up, swirling dust along the porch, and from the distance came a sound that none of them expected. A low, melodic tone, not mechanical, not human. It came from the field. Claire whispered, "What is that?" Evelyn didn't answer. She stepped to the window, staring out. It's learning to sing. Nathan couldn't look away from the field. The melodic tone, faint, dissonant, rose and fell like breath through a broken flute. It didn't echo. It hovered, folding itself around the house, seeping through the walls. Evelyn stood beside him, silent, her jaw tense. Tommy finally spoke. You said this came from space. What exactly are we dealing with? Evelyn took a breath. We believe it's part of a seeding system, biological architecture designed to prepare planets for colonization or conversion. The organisms aren't aggressive by design, but they are thorough. They transform ecosystems on a cellular level. Nathan turned to her. You mean this isn't just a plant, it's a machine? A living one, she said. One built with intent, self-replicating, adaptive. Quiet until the moment it finishes integration. Claire stepped forward. Integration with what? Evelyn opened her tablet, swiped through images of microscopic scans. With the environment. It doesn't just alter the soil, it syncs with the biosphere. Temperature, light spectrum, mineral content, even magnetic fields. The purple pigment is just a byproduct. It's photosensitive and part of its energy cycle. Nathan shook his head. But why corn? Why now? It doesn't care about corn. It hijacks whatever's available. Your field was perfect, wide, undisturbed, chemically rich. Once it detected the right conditions, it activated. Tommy leaned in. So what happens when it's done? Evelyn looked up slowly. Stage 3. And what's stage 3? Release. Nathan's throat tightened. Release of what? Airborne spores. Millions of them, each one carrying the same genetic code, modified to adapt and spread. They'll take root wherever they land, fields, forests, towns, and each new site accelerates the cycle. Claire's hand flew to her mouth. How long do we have? 48 hours, maybe less. The field's shifting. Root densities doubled in the past day. The hum is intensifying. The song, it means it's reaching maturity. Tommy cursed. We've got to call someone. Nathan stared at him. And say what? That an alien plant is about to terraform Kansas. They already know, Evelyn said. They're watching, monitoring, they'll let it bloom, just far enough to collect data. And then they'll strike. Claire stepped back, horrified. You mean bomb us? Evelyn didn't answer. Nathan slammed his fist on the table. We're not waiting for them to decide what lives and what dies. Evelyn handed him a second container of the white paste. Then you'll need to find the central core and disrupt it. Apply this directly, but once the membrane is open, it will react. You'll have seconds before it defends itself, Tommy swallowed. Defends itself how? We don't know. In the Siberian case, men vanished in seconds. In Brazil, it triggered mass hallucinations. Alaska, complete blackout. The root defends itself by attacking the mind, the body, the environment. You have to move fast. Lena appeared in the doorway, eyes glassy. It's calling me. They all turned. I heard it just now in my dreams. It said, come home. Claire pulled her close, but Lena didn't flinch. It's not angry. It's waiting. Evelyn's eyes darkened. It may already be inside her. Nathan stepped forward. No, we're stopping this. Tonight. The field pulsed in the distance, casting soft purple waves against the house like moonlight on water. Claire whispered, and if we fail? Nathan's voice was steady. Then this won't be the last farm it touches. The house felt colder that night, though the air outside remained warm. Nathan could hear the corn breathing again, slow, deep exhalations that made the walls shiver. Each pulse was stronger, more deliberate, as though the field were drawing breath for the first time in centuries. Claire paced the kitchen, her face pale, movements sharp. Evelyn prepared the remaining compounds while Tommy checked their gear, flashlights, gloves, gas masks. Nathan moved with purpose, but inside he was unraveling. Then came the silence. The hum stopped. He looked up. Everyone did. It wasn't just quiet. It was dead. Lena stood in the hallway, her expression blank. Her eyes shimmered faintly with violet undertones, barely visible in the low light. She didn't speak. She just stared. Claire rushed to her. Sweetheart, are you okay? Lena blinked slowly. She's awake now. Who's she? Claire asked, kneeling. The mother. Nathan felt a chill spread across his spine. Lena, you need to come sit down. But she didn't move. She's under the roots. She was buried here long ago, but she remembers. Claire looked at Evelyn, who shook her head. She's been touched. That's how it begins. Tommy stepped forward cautiously. We have to go now. The core is awake. If we wait any longer... No, Claire snapped. We're not leaving, Lena. I'm not going anywhere, Lena said softly. She wants me to stay. Nathan grabbed her hand. It was cold. Too cold. He turned to Claire. Get her upstairs. Keep her away from the windows. Claire hesitated. What are you going to do? I'm going to finish this. No, you're not. Claire's voice hardened. You think I haven't seen the change in you? You wake up in the middle of the night talking in your sleep. You stand at the windows like you're waiting for it to call you. You're connected to it too. Nathan stepped back as if struck. I'm going, she said. Evelyn moved between them. You're not equipped. Nathan is. I don't care. That thing has my daughter. I won't just sit here. Nathan clenched his fists, torn. It wants her, and now it wants you. That's what it does. It draws you in piece by piece. We can't give it more. Claire's eyes blazed. You want to stop this? Then don't keep me out of it. They stared at each other for a long moment. Then Evelyn said, If you go, you'll need to decide who's in command. One wrong move, and none of us comes back. Claire looked at Lena once more, brushed her hair from her face, then kissed her forehead. "I'll come back for you," she whispered. Evelyn gave Nathan the compound. "Apply it to the base, directly on the core. If the membrane's open, it'll absorb fast. If not, cut into it." Tommy handed Claire a flashlight. "I'll cover the rear." Nathan hesitated. "If something happens—" "It already has," Claire said. "Let's finish this." As they stepped outside, the corn swayed gently without wind, bending in waves as if acknowledging their presence. The path opened without resistance, but as they moved deeper into the purple maze, Nathan noticed something terrifying. Claire's footsteps no longer made sound. He turned to her. "Are you okay?" She nodded, but her eyes glowed faintly now, and her breath was in sync with the field. The corn closed behind them like a curtain. Nathan felt the weight of the field all around, thick air, pressing silence, that faint, ever-present vibration beneath their feet. Every step deeper felt like stepping into lungs that inhaled their presence. Claire walked ahead, flashlight lowered, face unreadable. Nathan kept his eyes on her. Something had changed in her gait, too smooth, too certain. She didn't check directions, didn't hesitate. The field bent gently before her as if parting out of respect. Tommy, behind, gripped a flare tightly, lips moving in silent prayer. They moved toward the center, the place Nathan and Tommy had discovered days earlier. But now it felt different, bigger. The very path beneath them had changed, turning soft and spongy, almost warm. They weren't walking on soil anymore, they were walking on root. A soft noise stopped them all. Not wind, not whisper. Footsteps, not theirs. Nathan turned, flashlight sweeping. Something moved between the stalks, fast, low, shapeless. Then another. Shapes emerged from the shadows, humanoid, but wrong. Their limbs bent at unnatural angles, their skin where visible shimmered purple-black veined with pale light, eyes hollow, mouths sealed shut. They didn't walk. They glided. Nathan froze. Tommy raised the flare and shouted, "Back!" One of the creatures lunged forward. Tommy struck the flare to life and swung. The creature lit up in a burst of violet flame, shrieking without a mouth, thrashing before collapsing in smoke. The others recoiled, their heads twitching in unison. Nathan grabbed Claire's arm. "Run!" They sprinted down the path. The corn screamed. Not voices, but vibrations that pulsed inside their skulls. Nathan stumbled but kept going. The ground below buckled slightly with each step. Ahead, the clearing. The root pit glowed like an open wound, pulsing and expanding. Nathan raised the container. "This is it." But Claire didn't stop. She walked directly to the pit's edge and stood there, arms at her sides, eyes wide. Nathan reached for her. "Claire!" She turned slowly, a faint smile on her lips. "She's here." Tommy moved beside Nathan. "She's not herself. We have to do it now." Nathan hesitated. The root opened. Like a giant mouth, it peeled back layers of glowing tissue, revealing a pulsating core, a sphere of light surrounded by fibrous muscle. The air became electric. Sparks danced across their skin. Claire stepped forward. "Claire, no!" Nathan shouted. But she didn't stop. The creatures closed in behind them. Tommy shoved the flare into Nathan's hand. "You know what you have to do." He charged the line of creatures, yelling, fire swinging. One by one, they lit up in shrieks of flame and smoke. Nathan turned back to the pit. Claire stood at its edge, arms lifted, eyes glowing white. "Claire, fight it." "Please?" She looked at him, just for a moment. Something flickered in her eyes. Recognition, pain. And then she whispered, "Help me." Nathan lunged forward and slammed the compound into the core. A burst of light exploded outward. The field screamed. Everything shifted. The stalks twisted violently, the ground cracked open, and a deafening vibration shattered the night. Claire collapsed. Nathan grabbed her, pulling her back as the root twisted, convulsed, then began to burn. He looked for Tommy. Nothing, just scorched stalks and smoke. Then the fire spread. The field went up like dry timber, violet flames licking the sky, screaming with the voices of 1,000 unseen things. The air turned metallic, choking. Nathan ran, dragging Claire through the collapsing maze as the world behind them turned to ash. They burst through the final line of corn, coughing, burning, covered in dust. And behind them, the entire field was on fire. But the breathing had stopped, and the night was silent again. The fire raged for hours, an unnatural inferno of violet and silver. No emergency crews came. No agents. No response at all. Nathan watched from the porch, holding Claire in his arms, while the sky above turned thick with smoke. The glow lit the night like false dawn. By morning, the flames had receded. What remained was blackened soil, scorched earth, and silence. But Nathan knew better than to celebrate. It wasn't over. Claire slept restlessly on the couch, her skin clammy, whispering in fragments. Words Nathan couldn't understand. Her breath came uneven, like something within her still clung to the rhythm of the root. Evelyn returned that afternoon, face hard as stone. "I saw the flames from the ridge." "We hit the core," Nathan said. "We did everything you told us." Evelyn opened her scanner. "That wasn't the core." Nathan's chest sank. "What?" "You hit one of the outer conduits." "The main root system runs deeper, much deeper. The field was only a surface node." Tommy was gone. Claire was slipping. And now the nightmare wasn't even close to ending. Lena came downstairs quietly, eyes clear for the first time in days. "I heard it again," she said. "In the basement." Nathan stood. "The basement?" She nodded. "Not with sound, with pressure." "Like it was under the floor." Evelyn's eyes widened. "You said your house was built by your grandfather, right?" "Yeah, on family land." "Then the root may have reached below your foundation decades ago. This wasn't a coincidence. It was planned. The field grew where the oldest root system already existed." Nathan's hands trembled. "We've been living on top of it." Evelyn checked the compound reserves. "We have one dose left, one shot. If we can locate the nexus, the true core, we can stop the expansion. But it will fight back harder than anything you've seen." Claire stirred. Her eyes fluttered open. Her voice was rough. "Don't go down there." Nathan kneeled beside her. "Claire, it's awake." "It's angry." Evelyn stepped closer. "We can't wait. If this thing releases spores underground, they could travel through aquifers, water systems. It won't be local anymore. It'll be continental." Nathan turned to Lena. "You stay here. Whatever happens, don't come down." Lena nodded, but her face was pale. Evelyn handed him the container. "Apply it directly, fast. If you see movement, don't hesitate." Nathan grabbed the flashlight and crowbar, then opened the basement door. The air changed instantly, cooler, damp, humming. Each step downward felt like descending into a mouth. The basement was dark, except for the soft, rhythmic pulsing on the far wall. Behind the water heater, the concrete had cracked. Roots pushed through, thick, slick, glowing faintly with that unmistakable violet light. Evelyn moved in behind him, scanning. "There. The pulse is strongest here." Nathan pried away the drywall, revealing a cavity, a tunnel, barely wide enough to crawl. Inside, the root glowed with slow, steady power. He took the container. Then a voice came. Not from behind, not from Evelyn, from the tunnel. Claire's voice. "Don't." He froze. It wasn't possible. "Please, Nathan, don't hurt her." He turned slowly. Evelyn's eyes were wide. "It's mimicking her. It's learning your language." Nathan stepped forward. The voice begged again. This time, it was Lena. "Daddy, please." He gritted his teeth. "It's not real." He jammed the container deep into the root and pressed. The pulse stopped. Then the house shook, not violently, rhythmically, as if something immense had been holding its breath, and finally exhaled. Nathan scrambled back as the root sizzled, blackened, and curled inward. The hum ended. The lights upstairs flickered back on, and for the first time in days the field outside went dark. Smoke still curled from the cracked soil outside, but inside the house something had shifted. The floorboards no longer vibrated. The air had cleared, and for a fleeting moment, there was silence. Real silence. Nathan stepped into the living room, heart still racing. Claire sat upright now, color returning to her cheeks. She blinked slowly, as if waking from a long, dark sleep. "Did it work?" she asked. "I think so," he said, "but it's not over." Lena walked down the stairs cautiously, glancing toward the front door. "It's quieter." Evelyn stood near the window, watching the field. Her scanner buzzed softly. "The surface is still active. The main pulse is gone, but I'm picking up faint signatures, like echoes." Nathan turned to her. "So it's retreating?" "No. Recalibrating." Before anyone could speak, the lights flickered once, then again. Then the hum returned, softer, different. Evelyn's face fell. It wasn't the core. Nathan's throat went dry. "Then where is it?" Evelyn slowly raised her scanner. "Not underground." Lena stepped back. The readings were spiking. Claire clutched her chest suddenly. "It's—" Then her body jolted, her back arched. Eyes wide, mouth open in a silent scream. Nathan grabbed her. "Claire!" Her body pulsed, once, twice, and then collapsed. Breath returned, but her eyes were no longer glowing. They were red. Tears streamed down her face. "I saw it," she whispered. "The true root, it's not in the soil." Nathan's hands trembled. "Where?" Claire looked up at him, her voice cracking. "It's in the air. It's above us." Evelyn's scanner screamed. She turned the display. A dome-shaped energy field hovered invisibly above the field's center, an electromagnetic shell, unseen to the naked eye but fully active. Tommy had said it was watching. He had been right. "It's in the sky," Evelyn said, "or just beyond it. The core is projecting itself." Nathan clenched his fists. "We go to the field." "Now," Claire grabbed his arm. "You can't take Lena." "I wasn't going to." Evelyn loaded the final compound into a reinforced vial. "You'll have to reach the original pit again. That's where it's channeling." Nathan nodded. "We burn what's left." The wind had picked up again, cold, not natural. Each gust carried a scent, floral and metallic, cloying and sharp. Nathan recognized it now. It was the scent of the root. He and Evelyn walked together through the blackened field. The ash crunched beneath their boots. The stalks that remained stood like charred bones, motionless. But deeper in the field, they found something worse. It had regrown. In the center, the soil was fresh, rich, lush, as if fire had never touched it. The root pit now pulsed stronger than ever, the fibrous walls breathing in and out, alive with strange symbols that shifted like ink in water. Evelyn stared in awe. "It's self-healing." "No," Nathan said. "It's evolving." They stepped closer. A shape emerged from the other side of the pit. Claire. But she was still back at the house. This version wore her face, her clothes, but not her eyes. It smiled, hollow and wide. "You came all this way," it said in her voice. Evelyn reached for the compound. "Keep it talking." Nathan didn't respond. He stepped forward. "What do you want?" "We were here before you. We will be here after. You are only the breath between the soil's silence. I'm not afraid of you." "You should be." It moved toward him, gliding without motion. Evelyn tossed the vial. Nathan caught it, twisted the seal, and charged. The figure screamed, not in sound but through pressure, vibration, thought. Nathan leapt into the pit, drove the compound into the center root mass, and turned. The glow exploded. Light poured from the pit like liquid dawn, and everything shook. The light was blinding. Nathan hit the ground hard, ears ringing, vision swimming. All around him the field convulsed, stalks thrashing like serpents in a storm. The root pit screamed, a sound that pierced not ears but mind, drilling deep into thought. He forced himself up. Evelyn lay nearby, unconscious or worse, her scanner shattered beside her. The false Claire had vanished, dispersed into a mist of violet particles that rose into the air, crackling like static. Nathan stumbled to the edge of the pit. The root was writhing, curling into itself, shriveling. Black liquid oozed from the walls, evaporating on contact with the air. The earth trembled. Cracks shot out in all directions. The field groaned like it was dying. Then came the wind, not from the sky but from below. A geyser of spores burst upward from the center of the root, glowing like embers in moonlight. Nathan shielded his face, but some passed through his arms, into his lungs, his eyes, his mind. A vision struck him. Not memories, not dreams. He saw vast fields stretching across alien worlds, violet forests swaying in non-existent breeze, towers of living root architecture pulsing with light. And within them, shapes, beings, watching. They had seeded hundreds of planets. Earth was just one, a flicker, a moment. Then the vision vanished. He coughed violently, falling back. The pit collapsed inward. Soil caved around the root, swallowing it, pulling the core into the depths. The light dimmed. The hum gone. Silence. He dragged Evelyn's limp body through the ash as the last remaining stalks crumbled around them. Rain began to fall, soft, cold, cleansing, real rain. By the time they reached the house, the field behind them was nothing but black earth. Claire and Lena rushed out. Claire knelt beside Evelyn, checking her pulse. She's alive, weak but stable. Nathan fell to his knees, mud soaking into his jeans. His hands trembled uncontrollably. Lena hugged him and he held on like she was the last real thing in the world. That night, they didn't speak. The fire burned itself out. The wind quieted. And when morning came, the field was bare. Nothing grew. No grass, no weeds, not even insects returned. A scorched void stretched where life had once been. Government vehicles returned that afternoon, this time fewer, quieter. No drones, no questions, just silent men who walked the edges of the devastation with unreadable faces, then left without a word. Nathan tried asking. They gave no answers. Evelyn left without goodbye. A week later, a letter arrived in an unmarked envelope, typed, short, incident classified, no further investigation authorized. Compensation forthcoming. Non-disclosure in effect. Nathan tore it in half and threw it in the fire. Claire spent her days tending to the house, her nights in restless sleep. Lena no longer dreamed. She said the voices were gone, but Nathan still heard them, faint, far away, sometimes at the edge of sleep, sometimes beneath the floor. One morning, weeks later, Nathan walked to the far edge of the property where the fence had collapsed. The soil was dry, quiet, and there, near the old oak stump, something small pushed through the dirt. A single stalk, purple, new. He stared at it, unmoving. It didn't hum, it didn't glow, but he knew. It was only waiting. 6 months passed. The field never healed. Where once corn had stretched for acres, only ash and silence remained. The soil tested infertile, drained of every nutrient, every trace of microbial life. Nathan tried planting once, just a row of beans by the barn. Nothing sprouted, not even weeds grew. Claire no longer asked when they'd rebuild. Lena stopped asking altogether. They stayed, though. The house was quiet again, peaceful, almost. But the kind of peace that came after a storm, you know, might return. Nathan spent most mornings on the porch, coffee cooling in his hand, staring at that black horizon. He didn't speak about what happened. Neither did Claire. Neither did Evelyn, who had vanished into a world of silence and secrecy, her name scrubbed from every database Nathan could search. Sometimes at night he still heard it. Not the hum, not the breath. Just a pulse in the back of his mind, like a memory too deep to forget. He never spoke it aloud. Then one morning in late spring, he walked to the edge of the property and saw it. A single stalk, purple. Thin, young, innocent-looking. It stood alone where the oak had once been, swaying slightly in a breeze that wasn't there. He didn't move, didn't touch it, just watched. That night he didn't tell Claire. But he took the old wooden sign from the barn, Callaway Farms, and burned it in the fire pit behind the house. By dawn, the stalk was gone, but the soil beneath it had warmed. Claire noticed it too. The dog wouldn't go near it. The wind no longer passed that spot. Nathan walked the perimeter again, this time with a notebook. He marked temperatures, soil readings, shifts in light. It wasn't science, it was ritual. A way to make sense of what couldn't be seen. The land was not done. It was patient. Whatever had come down from the stars, whatever had buried itself beneath generations of soil and silence, it hadn't been fully destroyed. It had learned, adapted. And now it waited again, in silence, in soil, in the mind. Nathan stood on the porch one final time, notebook in hand, coffee forgotten. He looked out at what used to be his world and whispered, "I remember you." The wind didn't answer, but he felt it, still breathing, still listening, and somewhere it was growing again. If you've made it this far, you already know. Some stories don't just end. They settle into the earth, into memory, waiting to bloom again. So if you found this tale unsettling, mysterious, or thought-provoking, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. New stories unfold every week, and each one pulls us deeper into the unexplained. And if you want to keep digging, click the video now showing on your screen. It picks up where this one leaves off, with another mystery rooted in truth, or something older. Thanks for watching. And remember, not everything that grows belongs here.